twice one time. Say,
No.
now what you doing, man? What you doing, man? Hey, do you want to do that one time?
All right, y'all.
All right, man. Easy out there, man.
Oh, that same thing.
2 times.
They hit it 2 times. People just join. Woo, woo.
Your mic loud.
Woo, woo. Man. Man. Oh, you should have hit the new one. I mean, you should have hit the old. Whoa.
Yeah, 2 times, right?
What?
Double up, double up.
Double up, double up.
Double portion.
Level up. Ooh, I need to. Ooh, boy. Ooh, boy. Ooh, boy.
The what?
Oh, man, come on, bro. We leave that out there. Succeed. Joaquin. You're a great really from college. Howard University. Oh my gosh, man. Might sound good today, man.
Yes, sir.
Might sound good today.
Got them levels right.
Man, about time.
What?
I need to call TJ too.
What's the T-Man?
I gotta call TJ.
Say, what's the T?
T.
Yeah, T.
Oh man, you got some water? Oh my goodness, man.
I've been drinking tea, bro.
I love it, man. I love it. If you like it, I love it.
5, 3,
If
2.
you like it, I love it.
It's on you.
If I like it, if you like it, I love it. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. This is your host, Joaquin Thompson Sr. coming to you live from
What?
Lilburn, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta. Well, it's not right outside of Atlanta. It's kind of down from Atlanta. But out by Stone Mountain, everybody know when you say Stone Mountain. But,
Yeah.
Out by Stone Mountain, and we're in the studio, episode 102.
102.
We got to start on 102.
Come on.
Hey, I can't wait till we get to 200. Woo!
Did you say 102?
Wait. That's what we do. Look at that, man. Just run over a milestone, right? Just hit 100. I can't wait to get to 200. I can't wait to get to 200,
Put some
man.
spec
I'm
on
still
150.
celebrating 100.
Put some spec on 150.
Hey man, I'm still
Respect on-
celebrating 100. You know what I'm saying? I'm still celebrating 100, but because I was listening to some interviews this week, and this guy, he asked this one entertainer. He was like, "How do you know?" He said, "How do you know if a person is committed, or if they really are following their passion?" He said, "Oh, that's easy." He said, "Because if it ain't their passion, they'll quit." So I'm like, man, I can't wait to get out here, man. I can't wait. I have to calm myself down when I come out because so many things happen, man. Everything is just, just kind of feel like everything's kind of going, my way. It's really God's way. And for those of you all that are joining for the first time, this show is a show about personal finance from a spiritual perspective. We don't do God. Well, back up. We don't do religion. We always do God. We don't do religion on the Daily Bread radio show because religion.
I'm about to run y'all down. You say you don't
Man,
do God.
come
I'm
on,
about to run
man.
y'all
Come
down.
on, man. Come on.
You ain't what I thought you was.
Come on, man. I ain't even gonna go there. You know what I'm saying? It's just a boom bam. But anybody that know me, anybody that listens to the show, and even if you haven't been listening to the show, that's the one thing I say every week is that we don't do religion. We only do one thing, and that's God. So I ain't gotta, I don't have to apologize for that because
Come on,
my
see?
Father know me.
Come
He
on.
know all my my flaws. He know what I made of, so I ain't gotta apologize. He know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
He know what I mean by my actions, not what come out my mouth, by what I do. Don't judge a man by what he say. A lot of people say a lot of things. I'm gonna help you. I got your back. I'll be there if you need something. Call me. Do this, do that. And then when it comes, guess what? Oh man, you need it all today? You want me to come right now?
Come on.
Hey man, nah. Judge me. I ain't gotta say nothing, man. You can turn up. Man, what you?
There you go. Play some music for you.
Man,
Sometimes
I
you
said
need
I'm
music.
turning myself on mute, bro. I don't even need to say that, man. I put myself on mute and I'm still doing it. So we doing it on the Daily Bread Radio Show, like I said, episode 102.
Give him the number.
The number to the stove.
Give him the number, man.
Man, put it. Oh.
Something already. Oh, what?
Man, somebody called me, man. This right here.
What?
This show is, man, look, man, I'm done, man. I'm done, man. Hey, the number to the show, 712-770-4984. And then you got to put in a pin like a credit card. You got to put your pin in 813-435.
Okay, you did that.
813-435.
Always about
Right? 712-770-4984. Put your pin in 813-435. So that way, we got, shoot, we getting live and direct. We're getting live and direct. Hey, man, I like that view there. But, yeah, man, so I see my sister on, man. Hey, girl, what's going on? Hey, girl, I'll call you later, man. I see you. I see my girl on, man. That's my big sister there, man. Love you. I was just thinking about you, girl. It's funny that I was just thinking about you. But I appreciate you joining the show. And it's been crazy this week, man. I'm not going to take up a lot of time, but I have to say, getting that interview, the whole process that went down at Morehouse last Sunday with Robert Smith, just unceremoniously,
Yes, sir. Yes,
right?
sir.
Unscripted, to just step back and say, you know what? I'm gonna pay all y'all, all 396 graduates gonna get their student loan paid off. And that was like an atomic, it was like an atomic financial bomb. And what I mean, it was an atomic bomb. And then, so that was Sunday, and then Monday, I'm always on personal, I'm always on personal finance, right?
You know what I heard?
What you hear?
A fella came here today.
A fella?
A fella came here today talking to
Man,
me.
that's country. A
Yeah,
fella
yeah,
came in
yeah.
here today.
I'm straight out of dude.
Man, you ain't from the Bangor, man. Don't, hey, man. You from like South Carolina or something, man. Don't do that to us, man. Don't do that.
He was telling me that
What'd he say?
a couple of days before that happened in Morehouse.
Uh-huh.
That Sunday before that,
The Sunday before that.
Pastor Dewey,
Uh-huh.
prayed, said over Morehouse, said something fantastic was going to happen in the next couple of days.
Right.
And then a couple of days after that, that's when my boy came and said, it's been led with my spirit to pay all y'all. Man, look at God, man.
Come on, man.
Look at God do that thing, man. Look at God do that thing.
Listen, man.
I say it like that, God.
That's what I'm saying, but the magnet, but when I sat down and thought about it, and then I went out there, of course I posted on social media, people been seeing that, like, hey man, but it was more to that story. I'm not gonna take the whole show up and give you all everything that happened with that, but I can say this without a shadow of a doubt. God definitely woke me up. I woke up Monday morning at 4:30 a.m. sharp, like 4:30. I'm asleep. I'm like in a deep sleep, and all of a sudden, it was like boom, like get up, get dressed. I'm like, get up and get dressed. Like, I said, it's 4:30. I'm talking.
You negotiate.
I'm talking to the guy like,
Huh?
I was like, man, it's 4:30. It ain't 6:30. I said, get up, get ready. I jumped up, took a shower, put on my clothes, went downstairs, read through Proverbs. Right? And then I was like, what am I supposed to do now? I'm like, all right, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna run out to Hartsfield. I had a Morehouse sweatshirt that I had planned to exchange for another Morehouse sweatshirt, but it was in the car. So I said, I'll put that on. And if I go out to Hartsville, because a lot of cats going to be flying out, it's the day after graduation, people will naturally gravitate to me because I got the Morehouse shirt on, and whoever gravitates to me, I'll just interview them. I said, oh, that's easy. That's like fishing. I got the bait. Boom.
They coming.
How about God told me this? He said, nah, don't do that. He said, go down to Morehouse. I said, go to Morehouse? I said, man, I'm talking to God like this. I said, man, it's
You talking to God again, man, what you want?
I said, it's 6:30.
Yeah.
Why am I going to go to Morehouse at 6:30 in the morning? He didn't say nothing. I said, man, I got in my car and drove down to Morehouse College at 6:30 in the morning. Why? I'm like, and when I was driving down there, I was like, why am I going to Morehouse? Get to Morehouse, get into it with the security guard. Not get into it, but they was doing their job, and I'm on this mission from God. I'm like, well, they was like, well, what you here for? I said, oh, I just came down and heard about the, fantastic announcement. I just wanted to get some pictures of the stage, and, is the stage still up? Or did y'all break it down? Lady was like, I said, can I just take some photos? She said, well, you need to see the director of communications. She's over here. We got some media. She said, go in the park and just come back to the guard booth. And I was like, all right, that's cool. Man, I get to the guard booth, come back. She introduced to the lady. Lady said, look, you don't have the proper credentials. You haven't filled a request out. And so I'm not sure why you're here. And I said, well, I just want to take some pictures. She looked around. She was like, okay, since it's just you already down here. Okay, I'll let you take some pictures. I said, cool. But then when I left from with her, I went and sat down on the little promenade. It was CNN over here on the left, on the right, and the CBS affiliate was right here in front of me. So I just sat down. I'm trying to stay out the way. I don't want no trouble. I'm the only, it was a brother with CNN that was going to be doing the speaking, like reporter. But as far as me, I was like, I don't want no trouble. I just, and then the guy started talking to me, the reporter. We started talking about, what happened with Robert Smith. And I was like, he was like, wasn't that phenomenal? I was like, yeah. And then we started throwing back, data back and forth about, 45 million people got a student loan, and the average student loan debt is somewhere around $35,000. And just, how's this going to change everybody's life? And then he said this. Now, up until this part of the story, I had no knowledge, because like I told you, God said, just go to Morehouse. Then the reporter, this is what he said to me.
What did he say to you?
He said, we got about 20 minutes, and we're going to be interviewing the president. I said,
really?
I was like, ooh. I was like, ooh, okay. I ain't even asking him to repeat it. I said, oh, so the president about to come, the Morehouse president? I said, okay. I know Dr. Thomas, right? I said, but see, that's what you do when you get prepared for somebody, right? Let me do a little research. And this is one of the things that we don't teach our kids no more. I remember I used to have to go down to the library, downtown Jacksonville, go to the library to research something. I had to go to the card catalog, look up the card catalog number, 512.31, AZ. I had to go into the stacks of books and find that code, then look up some information, right? You on with the Daily Bread Radio Show? This is Joaquin. What's your name and where you calling from?
Brian Armstrong, calling from Duval.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Is this the first time caller?
First time calling.
Okay, man. So let me give you no, man. I don't know. This is the first time caller, bro. Let me give you the directions for the show, bro.
Help him out.
Let me help you, man. When you call into the show, when I say, you're on with the Daily Bread Radio Show, this is Joaquin, what's your name and where you calling from? If you from Duval, now if you from somewhere else, like if you say, hey, I'm from Columbia, Maryland, got it. Hey, I'm from New York City, got it. Oh man, I'm from Bangkok, got it. I'm from Japan, got it. But if you from where you say you from, you know what you're supposed to say, right? So I'm gonna say this again.
He holding the goddamn mic. He holding it.
Quadra, Harvard View, Brazil Road. What's going on there, fellas?
Hey, that's what I'm talking about, baby. There you go. Welcome home, baby. Welcome home. You know what I'm saying? That's like the code, man. You just broke the code. What's up, little bro? How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, bro. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Hey, boy, the older you get, man, you know you sound just like your brother, man. I know you get that a lot.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. I can't shake it. So.
I know, man. I know. Y'all are relatives, so you know, you ain't got to shake it far, bro. So what's going on with your little bro? What's on your mind?
Man, nothing, man. Just checking you out and first time caller, and just wanted to say, man, I'm proud of you, and you know, that's it, man. You know, I ain't a man of many words.
Right.
That's it.
But hey, but that's enough though, right? That's enough. This what you just said, because like I always talk about on this show, man, it don't matter, you know, what we doing, how we doing it. Just that to say, hey man, I'm proud of what you're doing. Guess what? You just gave me some more energy to keep going. You just gave me some more juice to say, hey man, just keep going. Because I just heard from somebody that knows me. He didn't just meet me, he knows me. Like he knows the essence of who I am. Before I went to college, before I went to high school, before I went to middle school, before I even got out of elementary school, he knew me. And he's known me since then. So this is somebody, when he says, you know, I'm proud of you, or what you doing, hey man, look at my hands, man. My hands sweaty now. You're making my hands sweat, little bro. But I appreciate you too, man. I appreciate you.
Your palms will be sweaty now.
Nah, bro. Nah, man. I know, man. But look, man, that's how that spirit move. When that spirit move on you. But here's one thing about sweaty palms. This is the way that people need to understand when you start having sweaty palms. What that means is that's an indication, that's a physical indication to your body, like, you know what? You doing some things and you going some places that you need to get comfortable with going. Because you ain't comfortable there yet. So it ain't never, people like, oh man, yeah. No, I ain't, hey, when it's ready to go, when it go down, I ain't sweating. When I walked up, look, and that's the thing about it. That's a good point that you brought up, B. Because when the president of Morehouse, this is the day after the announcement.
Come on.
He did his interview with CNN. He did his interview with CBS. And then I turned to the director of communications. I said, hey, can I get a picture with him? You know what she told me? She said, you're going to have to ask him. You're going to have to, this is what the director of communications is telling me. She didn't say, hey, let me check for you. Or, hey, oh, sure, I'll bring you over. And she didn't do that with CBS and CNN. She did that with me. She said, you're going to have to go over and ask him. I said, oh, perfect. When I walked up to that joker, I said, good morning, Dr. Thomas. My name is Joaquin Thompson Sr. I'm a financial literacy expert. I have a weekly show. It's called the Daily Bread Radio Show, where I educate people about personal finance. Do you have time for a 1-minute interview? That dude looked, and I reached in my pocket and pulled out what? My Daily Bread business card.
Yeah.
And put it in his hand. He said, oh, so you legitimately, I'm like, yes, sir. And then when I hit him with them questions, he said, oh, so this ain't no game. I'm like, this is not no game.
Yeah.
And guess what? My hand, it wasn't a hint of got nerve sweat on my hands. Because I was confident about that. That's what you do. When it's time to execute. So, little bro, I love you, man. I love you, man. And I appreciate everything, man. I appreciate the support, bro. It means the world to me. I mean that with all sincerity, bro.
And it's real talk. Whatever what he telling y'all, everybody, man, it's real talk, man. You know, took me some time, but started following these principles, and hey, stay with it, stick with it. It works.
Oh, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. That's what's up. Hey, I appreciate you, B. And I'll stay in touch with you, bro. All right, love you too, baby.
All right.
So, I mean, that's the whole, you know what I'm saying? That's the essence of the story. The sweaty palms. Yeah, your palms get sweaty. You eat like, ooh, I don't know. And guess what happens with most people when your palms get sweaty? Guess what you do? You do this. You contract. Because you know your hands are sweaty. You rubbing them on. Even when you rub them on your pants, they still be sweaty. But guess what? When your palms get sweaty, that's a physical indication that you're growing. That means that you're not just there yet, but guess what? Go on past that. Because the more you go past doing that, right, when your hands get sweaty, the more times you go past it, guess what? You're going to get to a point where, hey, your hands sweaty. Good morning, Dr. Thomas. My name is Joaquin Thompson Sr. I'm a financial literacy expert.
Say the last word again.
Expert. Expert.
Come on now.
Oh, man, this ain't no game, man. This is no game, bruh. So, man, I know that dude looked at me. He probably was like, and I was looking at him, bruh, I didn't look in his, I wasn't looking down.
Looking straight in his eyes.
I was looking at that joker, man, like, bruh, what's yours is mine. I was looking at him like that. You know when somebody walk up to you and say that back in the day, what's yours is mine. You be like, oh, God, you got me. You got me, bro. I'm gonna take it. But no, really, I appreciate him, man. He has that brother had a great spirit because he could have went any kind of way with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you know, I don't have time. Oh, I'm busy or what. So I appreciate him taking the time out to do my one. It was 1 minute and 39 seconds. So I said a minute. We went over about 39 seconds, and he was willing to walk over in front of the Morehouse sign and take a picture of it. So why is that important? Is the story over?
Want to play it?
Oh man, you want to play it? Play it, man. It ain't but a minute and 39 seconds. Play it. Turn up the music, man. Turn up the volume, bro. Turn it up. And Dr. Thomas, what was your reaction to Mr. Smith's award to the class of 2019 on yesterday?
First reaction was amazement, like, wow, what did you say? Second reaction was gratitude, that, you know, he would be that generous in that moment. And then joy for my students. I mean, I would call this a liberation gift because he's liberated them from the debt burdens that often limit the choices that young people have when they leave college.
Okay. And what about the impact from, and I know it's fresh, but what about the impact from a legacy standpoint, as far as these young men going out in the world, being head of household and being true Morehouse men?
Well, I think in this moment, these young men had a powerful example of what it looks like when you give back. I also anticipate that 20 years from now, when these young men come back for their reunion, which will also be at the same time as Morehouse's commencement, they will be overwhelmingly generous because they'll remember this moment and what it meant for them.
Right. And they have that charge of just paying it forward.
And they have, yeah, and Robert Smith's speech was very much about giving back, being excellent so that you can give back and share your blessings, whether it's time, talent, or treasure, with others.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Did that sound, bruh, did that sound,
Come on.
is it just me? Is it just me, or did that sound better than CNN? I'm like, bruh, and look, here's the thing. Here's the thing about God. I was sitting there, bruh, I got it in my phone. I was sitting there watching the CNN reporter and the CBS reporter. Guess what they was doing? Them jokers had to rehearse. Them jokers was sitting up there talking about. Them jokers said, wait a minute. Say it like this. The dude said it again. We need you to say it like this. I rolled up on that joker. That was impromptu. I hit him with them like that, like impromptu. You could feel, that's just like a delicate dance, like the Matrix, like, You know what I'm saying? So that, but just listen to what he said, man. He said liberation. He said liberation. He said Listen, like I said, I want to talk about this the whole show, but just check this out. This is my spin on it, right? He said, now the first thing is Robert Smith, I read the article, I had the magazine, the Forbes, he's on the cover of Forbes magazine from 2018, right? when I saw him on the cover, the first thing I said was, I've never, other than Oprah, I've never seen a black person on the cover of Forbes.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the cover of Forbes magazine. I said, who? I was like, out there.
Where they do that at?
Man, no, I was like, I was like Samuel Jackson. I was like, who is this on this night? But what I did was I said, you know what? This is so impressive. Guess what I did? I kept the magazine. The magazine is right in my office. Robert Smith. Right? Man. And then this comes full circle. This happens, but I was saying the bigger thing is this. They estimate that his gift to that class is estimated to be at $40 million. That's a lot of money. But let me show you what we talk about on the Daily Bread radio show. It's $40 million, right? It's $40 million. Let me ask you a question. How many people have already amassed that amount of money that they could have been gave that away?
Mm-hmm.
See, it's one thing, and this is something that I've always, my daughter on, love you girl, my oldest daughter, and I've told my kids this all their life. Don't listen to what people say, watch what they do. Don't listen to what a lot of people say. A lot of stuff come out of here. You ain't got to say nothing. That man ain't got to say nothing. He let his acts speak for him. It's plenty of people could have gave him $40 million. Athletes, entertainers, other people who are investors. But your heart, see, this is about heart. Your heart got to be right. Where you really, truly want to help somebody. And it ain't just about you. You really want to help somebody. You like, man, I want to just, yes, plenty of people could have gave $40 million to 396 graduates. I mean, you gave them freedom, at least from that. Now, some will go on to grad school. Maybe they get a few loans when they go to grad. But guess what? You still freedom. You freedom for this. And it's 45, listen to this number. 45 million people in the United States have a student loan. 45 million. 35%, let me give y'all some facts. 35% of all college graduates will return home to live with their parents. And I ain't talking about just in no transition. I'm talking about to live. Why?
To stay.
To stay. Because they can't find employment that would sustain them going out, getting their own location, getting their own spot. It's too expensive. And that's what we've been talking about on the Daily Bread radio show is real estate is outpacing where people are coming out salary-wise. So yeah, you're going to college. Hey, love it. I never speak bad about that. But this man just gave them freedom. Now some of these kids can do like some of our counterparts been doing, right? Like, man, what you getting ready to do? I'm gonna take a year off and find myself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to Europe for a year and walk around. Like, what? We ain't never had an opportunity. Like, man, you gotta go to work, bro. Your student loan due in 6 months, and if you ain't ready to do it, it's either a forbearance or a deferment. But guess what? You don't have no student loan. You just graduated from college. Take a load off, bro. Go to France. Learn a new language. Walk around. Go, go scale a mountain. We haven't had the ability to do that. And I'm saying all that to say, we all as a collective can help somebody with something. We all as a collective. That's one of my 5 tenets. That's one of my 5 tenets for this show. Which is what? The first tenet is what? You got to decide that you're going to do something. That's number 1. Number 2, you got to plan how you going to do it, how you going to execute it. Number 3, you're going to have to start saving. You got to save something. We talked about that last week, what Marcus Garvey said. If you spend everything that you make, you're a fool. You'll never have nothing. You got to save. That's number 3. Number 4, you have to protect what you create. You have to protect it. What do you mean by protect it? You're going to have to get some life insurance. You're going to have to get something, You're gonna have to put your investments in a way into different things where you're not fully exposed to the market. So some got to be in cash, some got to be tucked away, some got to be in the market, some got to be in real estate, some got to be in gold, right? You got to protect it. You have to have a will and a trust. You got to get protection. You can't build all this stuff up and then somebody just come in and wipe it out. You got to protect it. That's number 4. And number 5 is what? Number 5 is what? You got to learn how to give. You got to learn how to give. You got to learn how to give. And people say, well, I don't have nothing to give. Yes, you do. Because once you start giving, because what did he say? He didn't say money. He said start giving of what? Your time, talent, and your treasure. Your time, your talent, and your treasure. Your time, your talent, and your, that's what he just said. Right? So don't be get caught. So you say, hey man, you got to give. I ain't got no money. That don't mean you can't go down there and help. Or that don't mean you can go and teach some of these kids how to read or teach them math, right? That's the 5 tenets. I live by that's from the Daily Bread Radio Show. And not just the Daily Bread Radio Show, because we didn't evolve. It's the Daily Bread Show. It's the Daily Bread Show. We do this on radio and social media. We just finished taping the TV show. So it ain't no radio, it ain't no Daily Bread Radio TV show. It's the Daily Bread Show. And I had to learn that because I kept saying I was taping the TV show. We'll be right back with the Daily Bread Radio Show. Cut. Just show. So I'm like, man, look, you gotta, man, listen, man, you gotta do it, bro. You have to do this. You have to do this, man. This is episode 102. My grandson, he was supposed to be on tonight, but we got our pass. He was so excited, man. He wanted to come back on the show. He's 8 years old, bro. I had him on the show on episode 100. He's 8 years old. Do you realize this man is 8 years old? And he realized in 8 years, he just graduated. Well, not graduated. You don't graduate from 2nd grade. He passed. That's what we just say. Did you pass?
Yeah.
I passed. So I'm dating myself. Did you pass to the 3rd? No, he got left back. Boy, I know I'm bringing up some old war wounds. But anyway, man, look, my young grandson said, he said, Papa, that guy gave all of them, he said, that guy, he didn't know the guy's name. He said, that guy gave all of them money to pay off their student loans. He's 8 years old. We have to stay in tune. This is about legacy thinking. I want you all to be thinking legacy. Because maybe that opportunity passed us. I'm 52. So it was some stuff at 25, 30, 35, 40. Maybe I missed my opportunity at that point. Maybe I didn't get the guidance. But you got people that's behind you. You got kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, neighbors' kids, kids at the church, kids at the mosque, kids at daycare. You have kids that are behind you that you can reach back with what? Time, talent, treasure, and say, hey, you could do it this way. Hey, let me show you how to do this. It could be something as simple as like how to fix a faucet, right? How to fix a faucet, how to change a tire. Everybody could give. But the thing is, you got to be able to look back and bring somebody with you.
Come on.
Right? That's what this is about. I've already seen this vision in my mind of where I'm going, right? I've already seen it in my mind. And the thing that gets me so excited about it is this. The larger my blessing becomes, the bigger my blessing becomes, right? The thing that excites me about it is the more people I can help. When this TV show blow up and I end up on HBO or Showtime or, CBS or NBC, on my own station on Hulu or Netflix or wherever it ends up at, and millions of people are seeing this, I'm gonna be like, man, I'm gonna be so happy to help 1 million people. The way I've been helping everybody that tunes into the Daily Bread Radio Show for the last 101 episodes. I'm gonna be that happy. And guess what I'm gonna be doing? Talking the same thing. Educate, motivate, elevate. Educate, motivate, elevate. And the same thing. I'm gonna be talking about the same stuff. So if you all got questions, if you got concerns, we gotta get on top of this money game. And if we're not on top of this money game, we gotta get our kids on top of this money game. If you're not on top of this money game, I've been saying this from the first episode. The very first episode we did, and we were playing Marvin Sapp, and I got all choked up. And they said I was crying. I wasn't really crying. I wasn't crying, man. I didn't cry. I didn't cry.
Your eyes were sweating.
My eyes were sweating.
Yeah.
My eyes were sweating.
And it was running down your face.
My eyes were sweating.
And it was running down your face.
No, it wasn't. My eyes, man, I don't know if I was having an allergic reaction
Yeah,
or what.
yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
from the first show, I said we were going to be doing what? Educate, motivate, elevate. That's what we do. That's what we do. So, I mean, ain't nothing changed. So, I mean, we talked about legacy, and I know we not really get short on time, but I want to hit you all with another topic that I was thinking about tonight, which is, you know, I want you all to start really be thinking about that second tenet that I was telling you about. Like, my first one is make a decision. You gotta, that's the first thing. Make a decision. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Because that's what keep a lot of people from starting. Because you're like, man, I don't want to spend this money. I know I need some new equipment, but I don't want to spend this money on this equipment and it don't work. We'd talk ourselves out of something before we even, that's like a backhanded compliment, right? Man, so don't worry about that. You want to make as many mistakes as you can, as quickly as you can. Because the more mistakes you make, the more learning you're going to get. And the faster you can get to your goal. So first you got to decide. The second thing is planning. You got to plan to the end. You have to plan to the end, right? You have to plan to the end. So you may live another 30 years. So are you planning financially to have some things in place 30 years from now to be able to still do your thing? 10 years from now, 15 years from now. It's getting harder. It's getting tougher. The game getting, they're getting a lot more strategic. A lot of people becoming entrees because if they're not listening, if they're not taking those action steps, the way I see it is this. Every time you pay $1 out to somebody, when you're paying $1 out, somebody else is receiving $1. So we want to switch that paradigm. We want to see what you receiving, right? So you got to start planning to the end. I mean, now everybody got one of these. This is the library. I used to have to get in the car, drive downtown, get out the car, go in the library, look up the book, find the book, get to that one gone. Go back to the card catalog, look up another book, go back to the bookshelf, find the book. Just to find one answer to, or go flipping through an encyclopedia. You know what I'm saying? Man, I don't know what that music is.
That's me. I just shut it down.
What is that, man?
You hitting all cylinders, bro.
What is that?
You hitting all cylinders, bro. That was a congratulations song.
Congratulations song.
Yes, sir.
Man, that sounds like some. Sounds like some foolishness, man. But yeah, you gotta be planning to the end, and that way you can take some calculated risks, you can make some mistakes, and you can live with them, right? Don't nobody remember how many shots people missed. No, nobody talk about Jordan, how many shots he missed. Do you know? You do realize he missed more shots than he made. You do realize that, right?
What's the worst part of taking a chance, taking a risk?
What's the worst part of taking a risk? Is that you posing that question to me?
Yes,
Is this directed to me?
Yes, sir.
What's the worst part of taking a risk? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
What's the worst part? The worst part is if you don't do nothing.
Yeah, don't do nothing. Exactly.
If you get, you know what I'm saying?
There you go.
I know, man. I mean, sometimes I have to take a time out. I know sometimes I be throwing out so much stuff. You probably be like, God darn, bro, how you know all this? Do you realize
Mm-hmm.
that the lion is the king of the jungle?
Yes, sir.
Do you realize how a lion captures his prey?
How's that?
Have you ever heard a lion roar?
Mm-hmm.
The lion's roar is so intense. Now, you done seen the ones where the gazelles go running off and he running after them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in close range, right? The lion's roar is so intense that his prey, when he roars, roar, right in front of his prey, guess what the prey does?
Scared.
No, you know what the prey does?
What do you do?
They do this.
They pause.
They pause and they freeze, right?
Mm.
And the prey do like this, like, what the? And when he does this, guess what the lion do? So when you say, what's the worst part? The worst part is when your hands get sweaty and you really want to ask for the money and you know your credit really not, it may not be where it's supposed to be. And you know you like, oh, I know I'm not supposed to get this job. I know I'm not supposed to be here. I know I'm not supposed to be honest. And then you take the step and guess what the person say?
You hired.
I want to give you that goddamn car. You're like, oh, God.
What you say?
I want to give you that. You be like, oh, my hands are so sweaty. You got all that sweat on your arm. You be like, oh, good. But you got to take that step. Because if you don't take that step, you'll wake up at 83 years old
Come on.
in a room by yourself because your kids grown, your grandkids, everybody be gone. You'll be looking at the ceiling and you'll be saying, man, I wonder what would have happened if I'd have took that $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
I had that $1,000. I wonder what would have happened if I'd have took that $1,000 and brought that drum machine
Yeah.
and started making beats. But that was my last $1,000, or 10,000, or 100,000, or 1,000,000, or 100,000,000, right? Because it's all relative. But the thing about it is, if you let that lion roar in your life, whatever that is, because everybody got it. Everybody got one, so don't let nobody fool you like, oh man, he ain't never scared. He may can shoot a jump shot at the end of a game, but if you put a book in front of a joker, sometimes they be like, boy, don't ask me to read out loud. Like, whoosh, I kill everybody in this room, but don't ask me to read. All right? So everybody has what I call a touch point. Everybody got something, right? But if you let yourself get frozen, bro, you never know what's on the other side of that.
Exactly.
So you got to take a risk. Like living is a risk, right? But you got to think about it this way: 200 million sperm come out in the conception period, right? 200 million. Flying out. And with 200,
Look at God.
man, that is beautiful, man.
Look at God.
Hey, man, but you can't keep interrupting my show. Hey, man, go on, sit down. I get that, man. I got that, man. We short on time, man. You want me to look out the window? I'm trying to get the people, man. But you gotta do that, man, because and I'm gonna tell you from personal experience. This done happened to me. I done had some losses, even recently. It's like something happened. I was like, man, feel like I lost, but I didn't lose. I learned something. It felt like I lost, though. It felt like I lost. Because I should have had more than this, but I don't. But I learned something. And I learned something that's going to make me more in the future than if I didn't do it.
Come on.
Right? Talking about risk. Man, I ain't even going to tell y'all what's been happening with me the last 2 weeks. I'm gonna give you a short version, just an example. I found out how to exchange goods and services over the internet without even talking to a person for a large amount of money.
Mm.
I'm talking about, if you had told me I could do this, I would say, nah, because I wouldn't want to speak to somebody. Here's the lesson in that. Many times we don't do something because we are thinking what we would want to do and how we would react to it. But it ain't about us. It's about who you're dealing with. So don't worry about how won't nobody never do that. No, you won't never do that.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody will do that. And the question that you're supposed to ask is, and I learned this from just training, listening to tapes, reading books. The question that wealthy people ask is, how? How can I do it? How? Somebody's already done it. Most of the things that we want to do, most people already done it, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can I do it? How can I get out of debt? How can I improve my credit? How can I leave something for my kids? How can I build a business? How can I learn how to, manage money? How? How can I decrease the amount of stress in my life? How can I start to work out? How? Just how?
How can you not?
Right? How? That's the question. How? So the more you ask that question, as opposed to, I can't believe it. Just think about that word. Just think about that phrase right now. You say that enough times to yourself. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And guess what? It ain't gonna happen. Believe it. Believe it. You worthy. You worthy. You God's child. You worthy. Anything that come into your life, you deserve it. You earned it. You worthy. Right? It's nobody like you on the planet. 7 billion people on the planet. And there's only one of you. 7 billion. So you take all your imperfections and dust them off and be like, you know what? I'm going to be the best me I can be. We're going to do it on a high level. And I'm going to grind hard and work to be number one. So it all ties back to personal finance. Everything, every week, every way, every shape, form, fashion. Memorial weekend, people want to cook out, people want to travel. If you're traveling, guess what? You made a decision. I don't know if you looked at your budget, but we going anyway, right? Ain't check no budget, ain't check no checking account. We going on a trip. It's the holiday. Treat yourself. So you made a decision. You didn't plan. So you just, hey, I'm going, right? You didn't save for it, because I don't know too many people save to go on a trip for Memorial Weekend. Now, we'll save for Christmas sometimes. We'll save for, we going on our trip on our anniversary. We'll save, but not on Memorial Weekend. You haven't protected your money, because you're just like, hey, I'll do it. And you're definitely not giving that now. So just think about that. And I'm not, because I'm in it too. Like, hey, let's do it. But at the same time, we got to have a certain amount of discipline. And sometimes you got to say, you know what? I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It ain't in my plan. I decided that it wasn't in my plan because I'm saving so I can protect and I'll be able to put myself in a position where I can give more to people. Can't do it. No, I can't do it. So that's what we do on the Daily Bread Radio Show. And I think the last topic I'm going to talk about is that, and I think we've already touched on it. That is the secret ingredient to success. The secret ingredient to success is what? Belief. That's all it is, belief. Belief, that's it. Simple. We ain't got to go deep into that. It's just, do you believe it or not? Your hands get sweaty, do you believe it? Could you walk right up to a person that you never met and put that handshake on them? You know what I'm saying? Pull out that business card, bam. Put that pressure on them. Like, no, I know who I am. Do you believe it? Do you believe that you as great as God made you to be? Do you believe in that? Do you believe that deep? Like, it's nobody can do this better than me. Nobody. Nobody can cook a chicken like me. Nobody. Nobody can, fix an AC unit like me. Nobody can flip a house like, nobody can, do whatever like me. Play an instrument like me. It's just belief. That's all it boils down to. Do you believe it? So my thing is with the Daily Bread Radio Show, see, I did it again. Daily Bread Radio Show. It's the Daily Bread Show. So we're going to keep it there. But do you believe that? I mean, we in here weekend, we got 102? 102? Like 102? Who can question it? Who? When I go, who can question that? I don't care if it was 2 people watching. If you did it 102 times, it don't matter. Steph Curry shooting all them jump shots. Guess what? It's going to show up somewhere else. I'm doing this 102 times. It don't have to be here. It's going to show up somewhere else. You know how I showed up? I'm gonna give you all a quick one on this one, right? I'm shooting the TV show this past weekend, and you got the production team, they got the lights and all this, and do this, and they got the little clapper. Take two. I'm doing it. I did 2 interviews with 2 different guests, beginning to end, 1 take. I'm talking 1 take, other than me saying radio show when I was doing my outro. Other than that, when I was with the guests, 2 guests, 1 take. So I was like, whatever. We finished filming, we wrapping up. Well, they wrapping up the chords and stuff. I'm grabbing my stuff. And this is what one of the young ladies said that was on the production team. She said, do you realize, this is what she said to me. She said, do you realize how well you did that show? And I was like, nah, I mean, she was like, nah, she said, I don't think you get it. She said, we do this all the time. We film, we take people. She's like, do you know how hard it is to get somebody to do 1 take? Do you know how hard it is to get somebody to follow your instruction? When we telling them what to do, how to say, which camera to look in, and they say, but, she said, your show was so smooth. And I said, well, I received that. I said, but somebody told me that the producer, well, I'm the producer, so I got to give him another title. The lead production, he told me that before, and I ain't believe him. And it goes back to what I'm talking about, belief. Even when somebody compliments you and tells you you're doing something good, guess what? If you don't believe it, it don't matter. It don't matter. So what I had to start training myself to say is when people say something like, man, you did that, that was excellent. I receive it. Because the old me would be like, nah, no, I didn't. You think so? Now what I say is, I receive that. I receive it, right? I receive it. So that's me working on me. Man, that was great, man, you did. I received it. As opposed to like, it was all right. It was all right. No, it wasn't no all right. It was great. That's where greatness comes from. So just, keeping you all on track on that. I know my lovely wife is putting something in there. T, I apologize. I got, these spectacles on. What is it? It said, Joaquin, you are in, what does it say? Man, you're supposed to be reading this, man.
I can't read.
Stop playing on the computer, man, and read the comments, bro.
I said what I said.
Stop playing on the computer, man.
Man.
You said, man, my wife said something, man.
You are reserving a 102 show and much more. Okay,
that's what's up. Appreciate it, baby. Love you. That's from my beautiful, incredibly beautiful wife that I love dearly.
Joaquin, you are an extremely awesome motivator in person.
Ooh, good. Look,
that's your queen.
I receive it. Joe Queen. Don't say it like I got a friend that's Southern. Joaquin. Joaquin, I got Joaquin. It's like, man, please don't say my name. Please don't say my name no more. Joaquin, I got something. Call me Joaquin. Call me Joaquin.
Just call me bro.
I said, hey, man, call me something. Say something. But he has a real Southern accent, man. But he killed me. When I listen to that voice, man, Joaquin, I tried to call you earlier today. You answer your phone, Joaquin. Call me Joaquin. I said, okay. Listen, man, this is the book of the week. This is the book of the week. And we've been talking about this. This is a powerful book. And full transparency, I think I'm on chapter 4. But I read a lot of reviews about this book. And the first 4 chapters is, listen, get you a copy of this book. It's called The Power of Habit. The Power of Habit. Why is that important? Because 99% of the things that you do on a daily basis is based on habits that you've created. 99%. So the things that you do on a daily basis, what you eat, your diet, exercise, don't exercise, go to work on time, be late to work on time, whatever you do, 99% of it is based on habit. So in order for you to change a habit, you have to make sure that you understand the cue Because most habits start with a cue. Somebody say something to you, and then you do a habit, right? Or you say something to yourself, and then you do a habit. The author is Charles Duhigg, D-U-H-I-G-G, The Power of Habit. So that's the book of the week, Daily Bread Radio Show. We're at the top of the hour, and want to thank everybody for joining episode 102. Hopefully, I know I didn't get to the board this week, but I'm going to get to the board next week. I'm going to make sure I get to the board next week because I believe in teaching, and I think that the information that we use the board for is something that very few people are doing. But when you see it written on the board, it's just like being in class.
Absolutely.
It's just like being in class.
Now what are we doing? The new one or the old play out?
Man, do either one of them, brother.
Okay.
Do either one of them. It's the Daily Bread Show. So, hey, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great. Hey, Lil B, I appreciate you calling in, brother. I appreciate you, man. Nothing but love. Thank you for giving me that juice. See my sister on, Kim. I talked to you. My lovely wife talked about her. My daughter. I seen Pat. I seen, a bunch of other people. Kim. Hey, man, all of y'all. Big D. I mean, if I missed anybody, hey, charge it to my head, not my heart. Just, hey. Hey! Hey! The original. Hey! Who you know got 2 songs? Who you know got 2 songs?
Two songs.
Dude!